Flosstube number 19. I am, I think, 2 weeks late to what I usually do. I usually post every 3 weeks, but the last few weeks have been too busy and too much stuff has been going on. So in the end, I'm posting now 5 weeks after my last Flosstube. So life's been busy, but I have been stitching. So I have 5 weeks of stitching now to share, which is quite a stack. I have next to me, and I've got a few new things, so I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as I have enjoyed my stitching over the past weeks. If you're new here, my name is Hanneke, and I have this channel for over a year now, and I just share the things I do when it comes to cross-stitching. When I first started, I was someone who stitched on one thing at a time. And that has changed completely. I stitch on many things, and I love that. I love being able to pick something every day that I just want to focus on, that fits my mood, that fits my energy span, how tired I am, all those things. So yeah, I really love having all these projects going. Since last time, I have been to several conferences, and one of you said, why don't you put a map on the screen next to you and show us where you've been exactly, because she was interested in the locations, and I'm quite happy to do that if I can. So you should, if I can, see a little map next to me at some point whilst I'm telling you all this. I went to Amsterdam, where most people will know where that is. So that was the first conference. Then the second conference was a travel conference. So first we went to Eindhoven, and then in the afternoon we went to Tilburg. So that was one day. And then the day after that I had another conference, and that was in Den Bosch. And I think that was most of my regular conferences done. But then suddenly I was asked to be part of a research team on a quite a pressing research in this area of Zeeland where I live. And I said, that's fine, I can do that. And as part of that, I had to suddenly go to the UK. So that's what I did. I think in about a week, I planned my trip, and then on Saturday I was off. And I went by train, so I had 2 full days of train traveling, and that meant for me a lot of stitching. So I tried to combine the work with the hobby. So that's basically all my traveling over the past weeks, and in between that, I've done my regular work as well. And then I got COVID. When I came back from the UK, I had COVID, and I was quite sick with it this time. I have no idea if I've had it before, but I was quite sick this time around. So I think I had a fever for about 3-4 days. So that was no fun. And I was actually so sick that I couldn't stitch, which is tells you that I was really sick. And just now I closed my laptop and I said, you know what, my holiday is now starting. So that means I have 5 weeks off, 5 weeks of annual leave. And because I do that research, we do have to continue on that. So I will be working half days here and there. And that's absolutely fine with me, because I don't mind having to focus on something very specific. And enjoy that whilst I also do all my winding down stuff. And I think on the 29th, I will be traveling to Friesland, which is in the north of the Netherlands, where I will be spending about a week at a lake. And I'm looking forward to that very much. So that's basically my life update very quickly. So lots has happened, and when I was sick, I thought I'm definitely not doing a floss tube. And then I had about a week left before my holiday was going to start. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do my floss tube the moment I finish work. So that's where we are now. And you can celebrate the start of my holiday with me. I thought I had about 16 projects lined up to show you. So that's quite a lot. I have a new project that I'm going to show you in a minute. And that's it. We'll be busy, I promise. I did start the cup thing, so I'll show you the cup this time. I do love Royal Albert. This is a very, very pretty cup. I think it is a newer line of the things they do. It's a very pretty one. The saucer is very pretty as well. And this is called Caroline. Very pretty. I'll be honest, there's no tea in it this time. There's just regular water because it is hot. Now, I know some of you in America have hotter temperatures than this for much longer, but we have gone from, I think it was Tuesday, when one of my colleagues was actually wearing a sweater to work because it wasn't warm, it was raining, it was a dreadful day, and now it is Friday and we have 30 degrees. So it's very difficult for my body to cope with that, with the sudden changes. So yeah, I can get quite hot. I might pause at some point if I get too warm, and then I'll edit them together. So just regular water today rather than tea. Right, let's start, shall we? Last time I showed this finish, and this is the front of a Biscornu that I am aiming to make. And this is from a design with 8 of these squares by Modern Folk Embroidery. And this one I'd shown you. And this is the bottom half that I'm going to use for the Biscornu. So I have stitched this on 20 count ivory Aida, and I have used Soie d'Orgé floss, 1 strand. And I love this. Love this. It's incredibly symmetrical. I have made changes. Sorry, I'm just going to try and push something out of the way here because it is bothering. There we go. That's better. I did make some changes to the center of this piece because it was quite empty. And because the other piece is completely full in the middle, I wanted to have quite a full middle here as well. So I've added all these little bits and bobs that you can see, those little triangles everywhere. So it's not much that I've added, but it does give you a fuller middle. And to me, that worked better with the outside. So I've made small changes, but I really, really enjoyed this piece stitching. It's not big. I'm not sure how big it is, but it's not big at all. I've added this line around it, which is just a back stitch, because I saw a tutorial on how to put this together because I've never done this before. And they used a line like this to put it together. And it looked very easy, so I thought I will do exactly that. So I've made a back stitch around both of them, and then I should be able to put them together. But that I will do during my annual leave. All these things are such nice projects to work on over the coming days. I have been looking for a small button, but because this is 20 count, it has to be a really small button. Everything I've found so far is too big or just not what I want. So yeah, I'll be looking for that. But aren't they pretty? I think they're really pretty. Sometimes I wonder whether I should make them into a Biscornu or whether I should make them into a regular pillow with a front and a back, because then I think you can see the pattern better rather than on a Biscornu. So let me know what you think. Do you think this should be a Biscornu, or do you think this should be a regular pillow? They are cute. Very, very cute. I'll try and show it close up, but I can't see much like this. There you go. And Swadelge is just such a treat to work with. It's very, very nice. Now see, again, I have not taken into account that I have to put my stuff somewhere. Here we are. That will do. Then when I went to the UK, I wanted to stitch on something small, but still something pretty, and something flowery. So I went to my calendar, and that is from ThatPrettyThingForU, and the U is just a U. ThatPrettyThingForU is on Etsy, and she has a calendar, obviously with 12 little pieces. And I have shown you July in a previous one, and it has poppies on. And this time I thought I want to do something yellowy, and so I stitched September. So as you can see, I am not stitching the months in chronological order. I just stitch whatever I want to stitch. And this is September. So this is another finish. It's not very big, but they do have an absolutely lovely effect. I think they're very, very cute. And this is stitched on a 16 count Ada white, and I have used the called for DMC. Isn't that cute? I think it's lovely. I think the flowers come out so nice. On the previous one, the poppies were very pretty as well. And on this one, I am just loving the sunflowers. I have no idea how I'm going to finish these calendars. I've thought about doing something with paper, but I don't know yet. So for now, they just sort of, this one has just been hanging there, basically like this. So yeah, it's just because I do enjoy the finished result. I think it's very pretty. And it was a joy to work on during the train rides and when I was in the UK. So it's a very nice stitch. The colors are very, very vibrant. They are more vibrant than you can see on the screen. But they are lovely. Absolutely lovely. I have started October, I think, but I haven't got it here because I've only started with one leaf. So I thought I'll leave that because I've got so much to show you. I thought I'll leave that one. But I have started October, and I will see when I will continue that. They're nice travel pieces, like I said, so I might take them with me to Friesland when I go on holiday. Then I was in the mood for stitching something small because most of my long-term projects are big projects, and I just wanted to stitch something small. And I had been looking at, and I keep looking down because I have my notes in front of me, because I've been looking at hands-on designs, and they have baskets. So each basket has 3 pillows in, and there's a winter basket, a summer basket, a fall basket, and I think a spring. So they have everything, but one of them, I think it's the summer, but I'm not sure, is patriotic stitching. So it's American based, basically. So I wouldn't necessarily stitch that. So I have bought the winter, and I will put it on the screen somewhere, as well as the spring basket, because I love those. I've loved those for a long time. And I saw them now finally as a PDF, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to buy it, and I'm going to stitch that. When I started stitching, Obviously, I had to pick a different fabric than they use because they use linen or even weave, and I have an Aida. So I'm using Aida 18 count. I am not sure about the name of this fabric. It might be Nougat. And I started with one of the winter pieces. And I am using some of the called for. I think the blues are called for, the white is called for. But then the brighter pink orangey, I think it's a 351, is something I chose because I wanted something bright. And I might make one more change to the color palette on this one as well. Because in here needs to go quite a neutral color, and that neutral color on my Nougat is barely visible. So I might want to go with another shade of the bright color and lighten it up a little bit. But we'll see. There's not much left to do. It's just this square and then the little bits and bobs. And then obviously it needs to be, because part of this, the part of the joy of this design is the way they have sewn the pillow. And I will try to do that, but if I can't, I have a new colleague, and she is a seamstress. She's very good. She sells stuff that she's sewn, and she makes beautiful bags. So I might, if I can't do it, I might ask her to do it, and I'm sure she's willing to do that. Because I love that. I think that's part of the attraction when I saw the pattern. It's the way they use different kinds of fabric, sort of as a frame around the stitched center. So this is one of the pillows, and I look forward to doing all 6 of them that I've bought. So there are 3 of the winter and 3 of the spring patterns that I hope to do. I don't know if I will use similar colors for all of them. I might just use from stash and change the colors. I might make 2 of the patterns more in a summery colors or in fall colors, so that I have something for each season of the year. Although I do have to say I also like the fall basket itself. So I might, we'll see. But I've started this one and it's a joy to stitch. It's small and it's quite easy, quite quick. And a lovely, lovely result. It's not symmetrical, as in it is symmetrical, but they've cut out sort of a piece that makes it, this is slightly off center, but I don't mind. I think it's just a beautiful pattern. Try and show up a close-up, sorry. Is that focusing? Really, is it? There you go, that's better. The blue is very nice. It's like a jeans blue. It's very pretty. Recently I went into town and there is this quite fancy shop and they sell all these beautiful stuff that you can put in your home. And they had this beautiful wooden, long, thin basket. And I thought, oh, that would be lovely to put these in. But it was 20 euros and I thought, well, I'll leave it for now. And if I see it again, I might put it. But because that would be lovely for pillows like this. So that's that one. Hands-on designs. I've never made anything from them, but I knew from the moment this came out that I was going to want to stitch these baskets. Right. Then I have one more start. And that's because I was watching the Euro Cup, the World, no, not the World Cup, the Euro Cup football. And the Netherlands did sort of okay. We weren't great, but we did okay. And it was fun. It was great fun. It was nearby. So we have the whole, people wearing orange kind of thing. I had orange earrings and everything. So, I was watching that. And then I realized that the Olympics are going to start soon as well. And I thought I would like to do something that you know, relates to all that, because I enjoy the Olympics as well. I love that. So I thought, is there any pattern that I can find on the Olympics? So I looked and I didn't find many, but I found one that I liked. That is in a series that I actually love. And that is the Gnomes series from Jardin Privé. I think that's how you say it. But if I'm wrong, I do apologize. And they have the gnomes now, I think in 4 or 5 versions. And I like the regular one, Land of Gnomes. I like the Christmas one, and I will stitch that one as well at some point. But they also now have Olympics gnomes. And it was actually Brenda from the Hamburg Mania who is also going to start it. And when I saw her waving it, and I had also seen it on my Etsy or wherever I'd seen it, I thought I should just do that because it's too fun. So I am stitching the gnomes, and I am stitching on a regular beige Ada 18 count, I think. And I am using some of the called for and some substitutes because I prefer the different color. But the main substitute I've made is that the bright red, I love that in the regular gnomes and in the Christmas gnomes. Because it really stands out. When I went to a fair in Belgium, I've seen the regular one, Land of Gnomes, framed on a wall. And the thing that drew me in was the bright red. And when I saw this pattern, the Olympics gnomes, they'd taken out the bright red, the 3-2-1, and changed it to a 3-4-9, which is not as bright as the bright red. And so I swapped it. So I've got the 3-2-1 in it anyway. And I've also changed the yellow. They had more of a brownish yellow, and I've gone for bright yellow. And I've changed the pink to a bright pink. So because I think with these gnomes, part of my attraction to it is the brightness of it, and because it looks jolly. And I think that suits the gnomes. So I've started with the what's it called? The flame bearer, torch bearer. I'm not sure. We've just had all that, haven't we? So now this is the diving gnome. So there's going to be a swimming pool over here. So I think I'll do that tonight. But I'm loving it. It's such an easy stitch, and they're lovely colors, and it's just cute. And it's something where you can do just a little bit every day. It doesn't have to be long. Just one strand of floss and, do a little bit. Just yesterday, I think I only did the little trousers, the whatever that is called, something you put around you when you jump into the swimming pool, and the hat. That's all I did yesterday, but it doesn't have to be a lot, just little by little. And I can do this throughout the Olympics, so that's a couple of weeks left. Isn't that cute? It's very different again from all the other things I stitch, and I think that's part of the reason why I like having more than one project. It's because I can do all these different things. I love that. So the red in the flower pot, the red of the swimming thing, and the red on the mushroom are all substituted to 3-2-1. Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it. So that's my Olympic gnomes. And those are my new starts. And 2 finishes. So yeah, I was allowed new starts. Let's move on to my progress. And let's have a sip of water because, like I said, it is hot. And let's start my progress with my magic needle kit. roses for a Neeldewoman. And I've done quite a bit on this. And that was actually over the weekend that I grabbed this one and thought, yes, I am going to stitch properly on this. And I've stitched this area here and most of this rose over here. So this rose is now finished. And I basically have to do some stuff over here, and then the 2 roses and close up the hoop. Isn't that beautiful? I am loving it, loving it. It is a 16 count Ada, this one, and I substituted the one in the kit for a white, because in the kit it's a sort of a yellowish one. And it's also a 14 count, and this is a 16 count. And I'm using the called for floss, the floss in the kit, which I think is Gamma Meline. Isn't that beautiful? I'm loving this piece, loving it. I hope you can see something, because I can't really. And you all know that I love Magic Needle. It's genuinely my favorite kit provider. It's just easy. It doesn't look easy. The result is very nice. And especially in this rose, I had a lot of combined threads where you stitch all of it with 2 threads, but then you had one color and one of the other color, and it gives some nice depth into it. So yeah, I really like it. There is some back stitching in this rose and this rose. I don't think it needs it, so I'm going to leave it. I'm not a fan of back stitching on a piece like this. It's so pretty. Look at those leaves. They're so pretty. So yes, loving it. Loving this piece. Then, oh, actually, I've got another new start that I have put in here somewhere as a progress piece, but it's actually a new start. So you have that one coming. And I'm remembering it because the one I'm going to show you now is a UB design piece. And it's called Rood treft Schwarz, Red meets Black. And the other piece that I've started is another UB Designs. So I'll show you that in a minute. This is where I am on this piece, and I've done quite a bit because I've done all of this, and this morning I stitched this area here. So yeah, I only have this row to go. Now that is quite a high row, so it is quite a big one. I think it's about this size that needs to go up there, but that's okay. I think this is going quite quickly anyway, and I'm enjoying it. I don't like red, remember? But I love it. Because of this piece, I have fallen in love with red. And like I said, 321 is my favorite red. Yeah, I love this. It's a full coverage piece, this one. But it is easy full coverage. So you'll see my artsy piece later on. That's not easy full coverage. That's difficult. But this is easy full coverage. Because this is all one color red and this is all one color beige. So at times this piece can be a little bit boring, I'll be honest. But if you time this right and you work on it when you're tired or in a train, then it's very enjoyable. And the result is so different and so unique, modern. Yeah, I love it. I'll try to show a close-up of this one. It's on a 16 count with all the called for DMC floss. So yeah, this one is well over halfway, and I've got quite a few pieces that are moving over the halfway point. And that's nice. Isn't that pretty? Happy with that one. Then the other piece that I started with UB Designs, and I'll see if I can find it, is also, oh, here it is. It's also unique. It's called a Blue Horizon, and I'll put it on the screen for you to see. So this is a new start. This is in the wrong part of the video, but we'll leave it as it is. I'm not going to edit it. It is what it is. Anyway, this is Blue Horizon, and I have loved this one because I'm already halfway done. So I started it and have stitched halfway because it is just so enjoyable and so pretty. It's so pretty. So I'm stitching this on an Ada from Casa Seinina. At least that's the shop that sells it. I don't know what the brand is of the fabric. It's an Ada. And it is slightly molded, and this might be marbled or vintage. They have, I think, 3 or 4 on their website. It's one of those. And it gives a very nice background to this one. And like I said, I love this piece. And it's a very nice blue that they use for this. It doesn't have a lot of colors in, but it does give a very nice shading and a very nice depth to it. I won't stitch all of it because they have these very, very small little bees and birds and butterflies that I don't necessarily like. I like these 2 birds. I think they're very pretty. I'm okay with these, but I added a little bee in here that I didn't like, so I took it out. There's a butterfly over here that I don't like because it looks very, very fake. And I think when this is quite, it somehow didn't fit with whatever this is. So I took that out. And I might add just a few of these here and there on the top. I saw that UB Designs also sells this, but then in red, with red flowers. And instead of selling it as like a horizon, like this one all together, they have that one in squares. So this is a square, and then this is a square. And this is so you can put it on a card, for instance. That's how they have it portrayed. So if you think, oh, I love that design, but I'd like to do it in red, that does exist. So you could look for it. So yeah, I love this one. Love this one. And as you can see, I've been running through it. It is not much to stitch, obviously. Quite a lot of it will remain open space. But yeah, I loved it. It's on an 18 count, and I took it with me to the UK, and I thought, oh, I'll stitch it on the train, but that was too difficult. An 18 count, the shading, I did quite a few mistakes, so I took it all out and then decided to stitch something else instead on the train, and then do this when I was stationary. So yeah, so this is a new start that is already halfway finished, over halfway finished. This is going to be a long Flosstube, so I hope you can stick with it. I do appreciate all of you coming back and watching, because like I said, I was really looking forward to doing a Flosstube, and it is my first thing to do when I started my holiday. So I just really love doing it. I love showing all my pieces, and I enjoy the responses I get, the comments, the suggestions people have, and I can't always follow up on every suggestion. I think 2 or 3 of you have asked me to use certain patterns as a stitch along, which is a lovely idea, but I am not very good with stitch alongs, because if I have to do something, I don't want to do it. So if I would make a plan thinking I want to stitch this and I want to have it finished by that and that date, I will feel a certain aversion to it, and I don't want to do it. So I don't do stitch alongs. A start along might be an option where we just start it and we'll see where everyone goes. But yeah, stitch along is not something I would easily do because of what it does to my motivation on the piece. The next one I'm going to show you is one of my long-term pieces, and it is Moonlit Garden by Kathy and Gracewood stitches. And I continued on the other side. As you can see, last time I had this done. Now I did the whole border and I stitched this side. The reason why I started on this side is that I prefer to work from right to left. I usually work from right to left. It's just, for those who don't know yet, because I do get questions like this as well, I stitch in hand. I don't use a hoop or anything. I roll the fabric. Usually I roll it from here and then roll it to wherever I'm going to stitch, and then I hold it in this hand, and then I stitch always that way. And there is always a moment where you stitch 8 stitches to the left and then have to do 8 stitches back. If I have to do that, I turn my fabric and I stitch upside down, so that means I again stitch from right to left. So yeah, I once saw Stitching with the Housewives, and I don't remember which one of them it was and when it was, but they were showing a video where they had a camera on top of their stitching, and they were stitching in hand. And I hold the fabric very similar to how they do it. The only difference that I saw was that they were stitching up and down, so they were going up and down in rows, and I am going left to right, left to right. Sorry, right to left, right to left. So yeah, it's just how whatever you like, basically. It's one of the reasons why I always start in the right lower corner. It's so I can stitch from right to left. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? And it's just something I've started doing, and I liked it, and I kept doing it. So here you are. I like this piece. It feels like a very long time ago, but I think it was after last time I said that that third row are grapes. And Kathy commented on my video. So thank you, Kathy, for watching. And she said they are not grapes, they are hydrangeas. And I can see that on this side. I guess it's because I was looking on that side. It was more difficult to see. But on this side, it's much more clear that it are indeed hydrangeas. And I believe she was on a honeymoon when she got the inspiration to make this beautiful piece. So thank you for that, Kathy. And I apologize for saying grapes when they are indeed hydrangeas. And it's beautiful. Again, this is a slow piece. I do not rush on this. I stitch on 18 count with white ZahraDesignStudio, so it's silk. And I just take my time on this piece. Because it is just white, it can get a little bit boring for me because I like to stitch with color. I think that's part of the reason why I take my time with it. Too much just stitching with white wouldn't really make me happy. But doing a little bit here and there, I really love it. I really love that. It's a nice piece for a Sunday stitch. And it is more stitch heavy than you might think, because I'm surprised at how much time it takes me to stitch all of it. But it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. For the people who look very closely, I have made a mistake. These should be the other way around, so they should be pointing downwards. And because I turn this around, I turn this side around as well. So, yeah, for those who look closely, I did make a mistake, but I think it doesn't matter at all. Happy with the stitch. Right, next one is a piece that I have looked at a lot over the past weeks. It is a piece that I keep falling in love with when I work on it. And then sometimes I just put it away and then it's sort of off my radar and I don't grab it. But when it is lying around here, I stitch on it a lot. This is Wildflowers by Marjolein Baste, and she is the artist. And then it is Lenart who put up it. I changed the even weave for 18 count Ada white. And I'm getting there. It feels like anyway. Got plenty left to stitch, to be honest, but it feels like I'm getting there. I've done this side of the border. So that felt like a big chunk, that border. And I have done the flowers here and all of this here. So I've done quite a bit. And I'm loving it. It's a lovely, lovely piece to stitch on. This also, I think it's at the halfway point of just over the halfway point. It is a paper pattern, so I have no idea where I am on this piece. But yeah, I'm loving it. It's an 18 count. I did that because the border is stitched with one strand of floss and I was worried it wouldn't cover properly otherwise. And the center is stitched with 2 strands. That means, because I stitch in hand and I don't use a hoop or anything, on an 18 count with 2 strands of floss, it can get a bit cramped and a bit not very neat. So what I do is I iron my pieces regularly. And that does mean that the stiffness of the Ada becomes less, and I'm okay with that. I don't need the stiffness necessarily. And it means that the stitching is much neater, despite it being in hand and not with a hoop or with any kind of tension on the fabric. And I love the yellow. I was talking to my mum because she is going fast on all her pieces. And we were looking for colors for a new piece that she is going to stitch. And she likes to do symmetrical big pieces like ink circles and anyway, pieces like that. And we were talking about yellow. And she doesn't like yellow. And I never liked yellow either. When I was making cards, I would never make a yellow card, or very rarely would I make a yellow card. But I find with stitching, I love yellow. It's so bright. So I love this piece. And there's a big yellow flower coming up here. So yeah, can't wait. Maybe it's also the season, it's summer. And yellow is a summery color. Lovely piece, this. Absolutely lovely piece. I've seen a new Marjolein Baste with a lot of yellow at a shop nearby, a kit. And I am very tempted, so don't be surprised if at some point you'll see something. The next one I'm going to show you, I haven't done a lot on. It's about 350 stitches I did. But it is a piece that I'm going to have to plod on with. It's difficult up there. There's so much confetti everywhere where I'm stitching at the moment. And that does take a lot of my focus and a lot of my energy, and I need a lot of patience for it because I need to restart my threads and I need to part my threads, and yeah. But it's so pretty. It is so pretty, and there's not much left. I think there's less than 4,000 stitches left, so that's nothing. But yeah, it'll take a while because it is so much confetti. And the back of this is just it's just terrible. But yeah, there's not much I can do about that. It's very pretty though. All the pieces on Facebook by Leonid Afremov, and people have finished them, is always just gorgeous. I recently saw someone who did the big one of this. So I'm doing the mini. It's by Artisy, and Leonid Afremov is the artist. And that person was doing the big one. And she already finished much quicker than I did, than I'm doing. But yeah, I do think that the big one has less confetti. So that makes it a different kind of stitch than this one. This is stitched on a 16 count Ada. And I do have to say, because of the confetti, I can't stitch as neatly as I want. Because I also do this in hand. And I don't use a hoop or anything. So all of it is in hand. So the iron is my friend. And some of it just isn't as neat. And I think it will be neat after you've washed it and then ironed it. And then if you frame it and properly pull it, I'm sure it will be fine. But it is pretty, look at that. So I will get there, very slowly but surely. A little bit every month. And there's no rush. With all my pieces, there's no rush. I don't have to finish anything. I can just enjoy the process. And I'm very much a process stitcher. Once I finish something, I'm quite happy to put it in a box and not see it again. So having all these pieces is just a joy. Recently, I put them all out on my bed. And if I have the picture still, I'll put in I'll put in a picture because you'll see how many pieces I've got. And yeah, I love putting them all out, thinking, oh, look at all the pretty things I'm working on. This is my black one. It's my black fabric, and it is called Spring Sampler. And I think it's Zahra Designs on Etsy. And I've done another bit. Now this is the only piece that I show you, even if I do only 100 stitches on it. That is the agreement we made. Because it's so difficult. So yeah, I did sort of up here to sort of close it, and I think I'm about 20% done at the moment. It is very pretty. Very, very pretty, but there's so much shading and so many color changes and 18 count black Ada. What was I thinking? But it is very pretty. This will be a beautiful piece when it's finished. I think it's overexposed at the moment, so you can't see it properly. It's because I have a big window up there. So I'll do it from a distance a little bit. Ah, there you go. Now it's focusing properly. Very pretty. But like I said, I haven't done a lot, but I have done bits and bobs over here, on top here. And doing this is a full, long stitch session. So that's the thing. It's just a very slow piece. But this has taken me quite a lot of time to get to this point. But I will keep going, and I can't wait for the whole thing to be filled with this mandala. Yeah, it's very pretty. It's very pretty indeed. I've got 5 pieces to go. And I have a needle lying around over there somewhere. I'm sure I'm not the only one who keeps losing needles. Even though I have needle minders, I keep losing needles. It's so annoying. My next one is Moon Deer, and I haven't done as much on Moon Deer as I did on previous videos. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a thread out of the way because it's hanging. And I have started on the antlers of the deer. Now these are pieces I try to iron not as often because I'm using fancy floss and, you know, I don't want to ruin anything. So I started the antlers and then worked all the way over here, down here, and I've added this little thingy here. I have made a mistake in the antler, and I have to remember to make the same mistake on the other side. It's not a big mistake, you can't see it, but just for the symmetry, I have to make the same mistake on the other side. So I'll try and remember that. Isn't that pretty? Look at that majestic deer. I stitch on a 20 count Ada ivory, and I am using substituted colors. by Weeks Dye Works. And I've also seen this being stitched in a DMC version. It's pretty, absolutely. I could have done this in DMC as well. But this was my first time working with different kinds of colors. And I wanted to try Weeks Dye Works. I don't know why, but I wanted to try Weeks Dye Works. So I chose these, and I'm very happy with this color conversion. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. So I've got Whiskey, I have got Driftwood, Majestic Purple, and Bullfrog for the green. Now the colors you see on your screen are quite dark. I don't know why, because in real life they are very, very vibrant. So it's not showing up on my screen as I see it in person. I will keep chipping away at this. Like I said, I haven't done as much on this over the past weeks. That's also because I've done a lot being on the road, in a train, being busy, being tired. I was so tired the last few weeks. And this is a piece I want to focus on properly because it is a 20 count, so it is small. So yeah, all of it together, it needs quite a lot of counting. So I think that's why I haven't grabbed it a lot. But it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It is one of the only pieces where I wonder whether I should frame it properly, have it framed. We'll see. I might go to Belgium during my holiday as well, because I live relatively close to the border of Belgium and I want to go to Ghent, because they have het Garenhuis, of het Garenhuisje. And if anyone is aware of that and knows what it's like, please let me know, because I'm thinking about visiting that place. And they also do framing. So I was gonna see what their prices are, if they are doable. Because I don't know. I might want to try that. But I think I will like the shop. So if any of you is aware of het Garenhuisje in Ghent, let me know what your experiences are. This next one is 48 squares that I found on Etsy, and I have forgotten who has designed it, and I don't have it on my list. So I will put it, all my pieces are in the description box, and you can always find who has designed it and where you can find it. And I have done quite a bit on this one. So I have changed the color, so they have stitched this in red completely. I am stitching it in a green, 730, I think, 731, one of those. And for these in the middle, I'm using 777. And it's lovely. This is such an easy Zen stitch. It's lovely. It goes relatively quickly, but then also these squares are more stitch heavy than you think, than I think anyway. I thought, oh, they'll go very quickly, but they do take a bit of time. They are, I think, 25 by 25 or 23 by 23, so they are quite big to stitch. But the motifs are so pretty, and this is so good for my symmetrical heart because this just works. It just works. And I'm loving it. As you can see, this is how I roll it. And then I put one of these pins up here so it holds the fabric. And this is an 18 count Ada. And then I stitch in hand, like I said. I do find, and I don't know if others experience this, because some of these pieces take a long time and the fabric is sort of lying around my house, it does get dirty. And my next piece is particular for that. And I noticed that it has taken away some of my joy on stitching it. And I need to figure out whether I'm going to wash it or whether I'm not going to wash it. I don't really want to wash it whilst I'm stitching on it. And I know that once it's done, I can wash it and clean it and it'll be fine. But for now, I just noticed that it bothers me when I'm working on it at the moment. And that's landmarks, my landmarks. which is a big piece. It's going to be a big piece anyway. And I've only done one rather than the two that I normally do in 3 weeks. So now in 5 weeks I've done one. And I think it's partly because of the fabric that I think is getting a bit dirty. So here we are. This is what I'm doing on this one. I've added that one, which is some kind of mosque, and I've forgotten because it's been quite a while since I stitched that one. But it's still pretty. I mean, this is very, very pretty. This is an 18 count Ada as well, white, and I stitch. This is a set of 60. I stitch, I think 56, no, sorry, 56 or 54 in the end. That's the idea anyway. Because I was thinking, because the fabric is dirty, I could also stitch those 2 empty spots and then leave it at that, but stitch a second one that I could frame in a separate frame. Or, you know, the idea was to have it all in one frame, all 56 or 54. But because of the fabric being dirty and wanting to start on a new piece of fabric that's clean, I'm thinking about maybe just finishing those 2 and then having this as a piece that could be framed, and then stitching a second one underneath that. We'll see. If you have any advice on that. My original idea was to have it all on one big piece of fabric, and I will show you the big piece of fabric. There you go. So that will be completely full. And when I look at it on screen like this, it's not dirty as in that there are stains on it. It's just sort of grimy from having held it in my hand so much over the past weeks. But when I'm looking at it now, thinking, oh, I have this completely filled with all these little ones. It will be so lovely. So I guess I'll continue on the dirty piece, but yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? It'll be a big one though. Look at that. I think I was gonna have 8 rows at the bottom, so eight columns, if you will, and 7 rows. I think that was the idea. Pretty. Especially when you look at it from a distance, isn't it? That's the thing with these smalls. They get so pretty when you look at it from away. I think the next one I was going to do was the Jesus statue in Mexico, I think. I think that's Mexico. I think that was the next one I wanted to do. And then above that, I was looking at the statue of a I don't know what it's called. A mermaid. And I think it's Denmark, that one. But that has no green in it. And as you all know, I'm trying to manage the color, the way the colors go together. So if I do only, because this has a lot of green in, the next one next to that can have a little bit of green in. And the Jesus statue has only a little bit of green. And then up here, I think I might want to go for the mermaid piece. And then I have to make sure that the ones around it have a lot of green. That's basically how it goes. Right, we are almost at an hour and I'm almost done, so we're getting there. The next one is Kaleidoscope. This is my piece that I use in the train, and like I've said earlier, there are other pieces I now stitch in the train. So usually when I travel by train, I have about 3 pieces in my bag. I don't have fancy stitch bags. I have sleeves from Action, which is a cheap shop here in the Netherlands. I sometimes just have a little bag that you use to put food in for the fridge. I don't mind what it's in, and I stick it in my bag. This is always one of them, but sometimes I want to stitch on something else. But this is becoming very, very pretty, and as you can see, I've moved into the first yellow squares and triangles, and that I really like that some other colors are coming into it. It brightens it up a little bit. And the other thing that I'm currently struggling with, this is all on a page break, and here as well, there's a page break here. So that's difficult when you're in a train trying to manage your it's a paper pattern, so I'm managing the paper pattern, and you know, it's it doesn't have to be a paper pattern. I'm now thinking it is a PDF. I printed it for some reason. I think that's also when I'm in a train, I don't always know if my phone is going to make it, and if I have a place to charge it. So yeah, I use a paper pattern. This is stitched on a 16 count Ada, and that's easier in train, definitely. That really helps when I'm traveling to still stitch. And it's easy stitching. But the result is very, very pretty. Has a lot of colors in. There will be pinks and oranges added at some point, purples. But for now, I'm already very happy with my yellow. That can really be something I look forward to, thinking, oh, I can do a yellow one after all the dark blues and the greens. Yeah, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. I do have to say that the coverage on the piece, it depends on how the light falls. At the moment, the light is fine and it looks beautifully covered. Sometimes when I'm in a train and working on it, I'm wondering whether the coverage is as great as I think it is. It depends very much on the light. Very, very pretty. So I can only recommend this one if you want an easy piece to work on when you're on the train or traveling or whatever you're doing. Then the very last one is a piece that I worked on quite a lot yesterday and the day before that. This is I think it's called Holiday, but then in French. And it is a French seller on Etsy. And I will put that in the description box so you can find it there. They have several of these pieces. They have a crisp piece with a lot of white in, and then I think it's a sort of a brown bench and a tree in brown. So I think that's a lovely piece as well. But they have several of those. I have decided to stitch this piece that is very nautical, because I'm stitching it to remember my holidays with my mum in Terschelling. And I will probably add the word Terschelling somewhere, but haven't yet. I might do it right in the middle here. We'll see. I'll finish the whole piece first. Now, I have made changes to this piece because I didn't like the way the colors were balanced. And I've probably put the picture of the full piece on the screen. And so you might not see my face at the moment because I put it over my face. It's just to show you the main changes I've made. You can see on the pattern that all of this down here is white, and then colors are coming in sort of at the top sections, and the lighthouse and the heart and everything. And I prefer a more balanced piece where the colors are more equally divided. Now I can't do that completely because this whole tree, there is no reason why I would put another color in there. So I managed to do the fence, the little house, and instead of white, I've gone for a grey string on there. Now, something I'm contemplating, I don't know yet, is whether this little sailboat that I've done in white will also get a dark blue sail, or two different kinds of blue. I don't know yet. Just to get more blue in that lower section. So yeah, that's been my main changes. Now at the top here, you see on the pattern that there are 3 blue houses in different shades of blue. That is a lot of blue compared to the rest of the piece. So I will probably do one of those houses, the middle one, in white rather than blue. Just again, to get the balance in my eyes, get the balance more equal, rather than having it so different. I've considered maybe stitching one of these little sheeps at the side of the tree there, just to get a little bit more grey there, but I'm not sure. We'll see. So yeah, this has been a bit of a puzzle, but suddenly I sort of decided to stitch the tree. The tree was the part I was least looking forward to, but it was very quickly done, to be honest, and I quite enjoyed the process. And I loved adding this little string of on there because it's so pretty. So now it's only the top section. This is also over halfway done now. And I think I might want to make this into a bag. And like I said, my colleague, who's the seamstress, makes bags. So I might want to ask her to incorporate this in a bag that she can make for me. Because I can sew, but it's not something I'm very good at. And I don't want to ruin my pieces. I can make a pillow, which, you know, is very straightforward. But making a pretty bag is a different story. So we'll see. So yeah, I might still do a bit of frogging on that little boat there, and add bits and bobs here and there. Add the word Terschelling somewhere, and we'll see. Very pretty. And this is stitched on I think an 18 count, but I'm not entirely sure. And the color is some sort of beige. I have no idea. I think it was called beige. And there we are. That is 5 weeks worth of stitching, in which I have been traveling a lot, in which I was sick. So a lot has been done. Then I have one more thing to show you, and this is a project that I am going to share with you. I went to a brocante. I live in Middelburg, and we have a lot of brocantes and antique markets and things like that, where you can buy secondhand stuff. And yesterday it was a brocante. The brocante usually has quite pretty stuff that is in relatively good condition, and it's usually very nice. They're very nice things. All my little cups and stuff I get at markets like that. Except for a lovely, lovely lady who offered me. I think I went to her house and she had so much of those cups. And I could just look through them, and we had a lovely, lovely afternoon. And it was lovely to get to know her. And I bought, I think, 16 of those cups from her. They were all in great condition. She wrapped them all perfectly for me. And so that is sort of a part of the collection that I was able to get that way. But quite a lot of these cups, and I'm pretty sure this one is one of hers. But quite a lot of the other ones I got from these markets. Anyway, yesterday I went to the market, and I went in the morning and I saw this. This is an old-fashioned sewing box. And it's in relatively good condition. It's not perfect. It's obviously been used, and I quite like that. I quite like that this belonged to someone who used it and probably liked it. Anyway, I didn't buy it. I went home, went to work. I had to do a lot of writing yesterday. I'm writing some policy, and that can be a bit boring. Anyway, I got into it, and then it was about 12 o'clock, and I was having lunch, and I thought, oh, actually, I would like that box. So I went back, had my lunch walk, basically, back to the market and back to home. And I bought it, and it was only 15 euros. So that's barely anything. The wood is sort of okay. I am contemplating whether I want to paint it and updo it, so it's nice. And maybe paint it in a green that would, complement my house. But I'm not sure about the painting. What I am sure about is about the top. So this has some sort of fabric on the top. and it's not stitched. It's rather printed, I think, and it is damaged and it's discolored. So this needs changing. So I'm gonna pull this out. Not yet. I'll pull it out once I have done the stitching, because I am going to stitch substitutes for this that I can add in here. And the thing I'm going to stitch is the rose band sampler, and I will put it on the screen. And this is a sampler that I've been looking at ever since it came out. And it was not in a PDF. I've been looking everywhere for a PDF and I couldn't find one. And I decided at that point to leave it, because I wanted a PDF, because there's confetti in there, and then a PDF is easier. And I think about a week ago, I saw that now the PDFs are everywhere. So I already put it in my basket thinking, oh, that might be nice one day. And then yesterday evening, I was thinking, what am I going to do with this box? What am I going to stitch on top of this? And that piece showed up and I thought, that's it. I'm going to stitch the roses, make a nice border around it, and then probably stitch the roses twice. So I have one on each side. I might also stitch the other side with the bands, rose, but we'll see. I will stitch that on top of here. So I've ordered 20 count Ada with a natural linen look, so that it really suits the top of this. So the color will blend in nicely. If I don't want to paint it, then it will still go nicely. And I've ordered the colors that need doing, and I've got quite a lot of colors here. And so I will start and stitch that. And that's a nice project. So I don't know yet what I'm going to do with this box, and whether I'm going to paint it or whether I'm going to leave it used as it is and just change the stitchy tops. The inside is still quite okay. One of these little handles on the side is gone. So again, that might be something I can source from somewhere. There are often these videos everywhere where they do old furniture up. And I just thought, when I've got my annual leave anyway, I could just do this and make this a project. So that's what this is. It's a project. But the insides are still okay. They're sort of red. And they're sort of okay. So yeah, I was pleased with this, and this will be a renovation project. And we'll see how far it gets, if it works or not. And if it doesn't, I'm still happy with it. Yeah, I'm happy with it. So that's a project that I'm looking forward to. And that concludes my Flosstube. I thank you so much for watching. It has been such a pleasure. I have watched a lot of Flosstubers, I have to be honest. I've been stitching a lot. There's so many whip parades at the moment. And that's so fun because you see so many projects. So yeah, I have been part of the community over the past weeks, just in a different way than I had anticipated. But yeah, I love the community. So I thank you very much for being here with me, spending time with me. And if you enjoyed what you saw, if you have advice or a comment, something to say, please leave the comment on this video. And I will, because now I have a holiday, I can take my time again in replying to all the comments. I enjoy doing that. So thank you very much for sitting it out for over an hour. And I look warm too. It is warm. Like I said, it's about 30 degrees now. Anyway, I think I'll be back during my holiday. I don't know whether that will be more often, maybe every 2 weeks, because I'll be doing more, or whether it be another 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know. As you know, I don't make plans. I just see whatever I do and whenever I do it. So you'll see me again. And again, I appreciate you being here. Thank you.